We're going to talk about Citigroup today and what they're debuting, a token service, latest foray into digital assets. We're going to talk about what technology this is actually built out on. This person who works for Citi, Ryan Rugg, not the best last name for the crypto industry, but all good. Welcome, welcome. I sent her a message, but I'm too small. She'll never reply to me, but she's the head of digital assets at Citi TTS, Digital Credentials, Identity, Innovation, Trade, and Financial Services. And she actually gave an interview and tells us what technology they're using. I'm going to get into this article a bit, and then I'm going to play out the technology, and I think you'll be surprised.
As we move to the next evolution from retail into enterprise.
As we move from retail into enterprise. And once we figure out what technology is, we're going to have a little conversation about what all this means and what extent. This is the way that the world is moving. We're moving to a digital backend DLT infrastructure for all banks. Citi token, Wells Fargo token, JPM coin, whatever bank or corporation, it'll be their token or their backend. What you need is a good bridge asset in between to take away all of the friction, because none of these banks or these institutions are going to want to hold each other's tokens because there's mitigating risk and there's all kinds of things that stop different banks from holding certain liabilities from other banks and whatnot. So let's go through this because there's a lot to get through here. If you're just now catching up, check this out. They viewed a token service that is part of a broader push to offer digital assets to institutional clients. And understanding, guys, this is just Citibank to Citibank. This is not Citibank to JPM or Citibank to Wells Fargo. This is just internally within Citibank. The product known as Citi Token Services will transform customer deposits into digital tokens that can be sent instantly anywhere in the future, according to a statement on Monday. The service is housed in the firm's Treasury and Trade Solutions divisions, which is so far focused on using it to improve cash management and trade finance capabilities. The development of Citi Token Services is a part of our journey to deliver real-time, always-on, next-generation transaction banking services to our institutional clients. It always goes to institutional clients, and then the technology trickles down to us regular folk down here. The move is the latest by an established banking giant to offer so-called tokenized deposits or transferable digital coins that represent a claim against banks. Crucially, though, these tokens are processed on blockchain rails, meaning settlement is instantaneous. Gotta love that instantaneous settlement. For Citigroup, new offering, the company will rely on a private blockchain owned and managed by the bank. According to the statement, clients won't need to set up their own digital wallet, and then they will instead have access to the service through the banking's existing system. New system working with the old system. This is Citigroup's kind of laying out the playbook on how banks are going to want to do this. Citigroup is taking aim at the problem of moving money across borders, which it can sometimes take days. The new offering comes on the heels of Citigroup's participation along with a unit of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York and global banks in months-long test of the regulated liability network, and I can show you this as well, which allowed banks to simulate the issuing of digital money representing their customers' own funds before settling those through central bank reserves on distributed ledger. That test provided to the Fed that the so-called digital dollars have the ability to improve wholesale payments, and the use of a ledger didn't alter the legal treatment of those deposits. Man, if you guys are finding value, I hope you guys can like the video. Citibank are on regulated liability network. Let me play this and I'll show you who they are. And then I'll get into the Ryan Rugg and she'll tell you what technology they're talking about.
Bank says customers will not need to set up their own digital wallets and will instead be able to access the service through the bank's existing systems. So it is safe to assume that the underlying technology, the underlying infrastructure here is FedNow. It is not clear, but they're telling you that you don't even need to create a separate digital wallet for these tokens. As the Federal Reserve repeatedly pointed out, and I explained this in detail in my article, banks' customers won't even know that they're using the new instant payment system, FedNow. It is not something that you have control over. It is not something that you can choose to sign up for. It is effectively baked into every single banking transaction from now on. Here's what one of Citigroup's employees, Global Services President Shamir Khalik, commented. This development goes hand in hand with our industry-leading work on the regulated liability network to create interoperable digital asset solutions on a multi bank basis. But make no mistake, even though this product is being offered to business clients at this time, it means that the infrastructure, the underlying technology has already been created, it's been user tested, and now that it's being launched on a more of a limited scale, it is soon coming to individual bank customers. I'd say that it is safe to assume that it is a matter of time. This is a step in the long process of moving to transferable digital assets, or as Citi refers to them, tokenized deposits. If it seems as though this announcement just came out of nowhere, that's only because the R&D phase, the research and development phase, the creation of these new digital systems, that's not being announced publicly. We're just misinformed. According to Bloomberg, the new offering comes on the heels of Citigroup's participation, along with a unit of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York and global banks, in a months-long test of a regulated liability network which allowed banks to simulate, attention, issuing digital money representing their customers.
Who are the contributors for the RLN, which is the Regulated Liability Network? Listen to these names. Nick Kerrigan, he's the Managing Director, Head of Innovation at Swift. You have Vivek Kolhi, he's the Head of Emerging Technology at Digital Assets at BNY Mellon Treasury Services. Vincent Lau, he's Regional Head of International Payments, Asia Pacific, HSBC. You got Lloyd's Bank in here. The OCBC, which is the Overseas Chinese Banking Corporation. You also have somebody from ANZ, somebody from, of course, Citi here. You have somebody from TD Bank, somebody from Wells Fargo, US Bank, and Truist Financial Corporation. All of these people have come together and have been working on trying to move the banking industry from this old Web 2 version to this new Web 3 DLT-based version where value and settlement move at the speed of light. Let me just read you the executive summary and I will play Ryan Rugg's video. Blockchain technology has created a wave of innovation on the edge of regulatory perimeter. Despite the hype, the adoption of distributed ledger technology by regulated financial systems has yet to lead to large-scale transformation of market infrastructures. This paper presents one potential avenue for upgrading sovereign currency systems with shared ledger technology. And I'm going to do a side video on just this because there's so much information here and I don't want this video to go too long. So let me go ahead and play this and she'll break it down. This is Ryan Rugg, this young lady here, and she is in fact the head of digital assets, TTS at Citibank.
So if you think you're a large multinational client where you have multiple bank accounts in multiple different regions and you keep buffers of cash in each of these regions, it's really an inefficient use of cash. So think of the future where
she's talking about Nostra Vostra accounts where all these banks had to keep all of this cash locked up all over the place, all over the world, so value can be moved around. And it's a very inefficient way. I've seen that the numbers as low as like 5 to 8 trillion, as high as like 25 to 27 trillion dollars locked up globally for these Nostra accounts.
You can do just-in-time funding. If it's Saturday or it's Friday night, 5 p.m. in the US and 5 a.m. in Singapore, but you need to get money there, you could send that immediately within seconds. And I think that really adds that kind of like that benefit for clients. And then the programmability is also a really important functionality that we're adding. So our Spring Token services for trade with smart contracts to be able to, and again, a smart contract is just a series of, if this happens, then do that. If this contract was executed, then release the funds. And fully automated, no paper, really enabling clients with that always on infrastructure.
So that is tokenized deposits. On either that front or the smart contracts front, can you say, are there clients that you are able to share with us just to give us a little example of how this is being implemented in the real world?
Yeah, absolutely. So Maersk is one of our large pilot clients that we did. And as Maersk passed through us now, they automatically pre-funded a smart contract with tokens. And then once they received the services, the token was automatically paid out. So as you can imagine, Create is a very ether-ridden, not digital for first kind of business that I can add those efficiencies for our clients.
Real random side note, if you're watching this probably tomorrow, September 20th, this is the 19th, September 20th, you are going to have the digital trade documents bill goes into law. 144-year-old paper documents bill is being replaced with these new MLE-TR regulations. Hey, you're getting rid of paper, you're speeding up trade, you're speeding up settlement. Now we're talking, we're moving in the right direction here, guys. I'm feeling good right now.
How do you see Citi expanding on these capabilities down the road?
Yeah, so we've built a platform on a ERC20 EVM compatible protocol, which is really important. There's a lot of legislation out there in the marketplace right now in regards to stablecoins and crypto. And if any of these bills pass and our clients want to start using these, we'll have an enabled platform. So having this ERC20 token, which would be fungible, today, day one, we're doing it for tokenized deposits, cash management, efficiencies in trade, but really future-proofing and like working with clients to build this out. We mentioned Merce, which is one of our pilot clients, and really helping to build out the functionality in our roadmap, which includes not just a sitting token. We want to work with other banks, like we've done on the regulated liability network with the Fed, other banks. Which clients don't want individual bank tokens. They want multi-token, multi-border liquidity for added efficiency.
So you heard it there. It's ERC20. Now, you look at something like XRP yet, we don't have smart contract functionality yet. Could a token be issued on the XPL? Of course. Do I think that they're going to be using Ethereum for settlement and things like that? No, guys. I think you can use EVM smart contracts and use other settlement vehicles that are going to be a lot easier to use out in this space. Bridge assets are by far the best tools to use bridging between one currency to another or one bank back end to another, right? Now, understand, all this is within Citibank itself. It's not Citibank to Wells Fargo or anything like that. It's all in the back end of Citibank. And it looks like it's through FedNow. And November is an interesting month because you have ISO coming in where all of these banks, 80% of global payments are going to be with ISO messaging. Now, when are they going to start using crypto for instant settlement? That is, if you have a crystal ball, a lucky rabbit, a genie in a bottle, whatever it is, if you got it, rub it, blow it, kiss it, whatever you got to do, get that date. We need the date that the first couple banks start to do this because it'll put every other bank at a disadvantage. And that's the date I care about. I don't care about any other date but that date, because that date will be the start of the change of all of our lives that hold these certain assets, because that is when the value, right? That is when the use case will go from speculation to utility. And that is what we're waiting for. We're still here on Speculation Island, killing each other, throwing spears at each other. We need to chill out and wait for Utility Mountain to shine its... I don't know why I'm doing these metaphors.
I think what you just said means that you are using a permissioned version of the Ethereum blockchain. And we've been talking about this for several months now. We talked about it together earlier this year in the spring, but public blockchains, I know it's early in the game and this is the way you're doing it now is that we have to do it, but do you ever see there being a day or a reason for a city itself or for a bank in general to implement public blockchains?
It's going to really depend on regulation, in my opinion, because right now it's only permissible for us to be on a permission chain. So if regulation changes and regulators get comfortable with public, we will definitely go down that route. But right now, from a regulatory standpoint, we're sticking with permission. So it really depends, I think, on that. And as you talked about in the past, it's very bifurcated across the different regions, right? Between the US, EMEA, Asia, the different regulations coming out in this space. So it'll be, I think, more to come in the future on that. But we're making it where we are future-proofing our system, that if that does happen, we can move to a public chain.
Tokenization really has been the theme of the year. And I think even we were talking in the spring about how it's not the first time we've been through this. And I think even back then it was still a little bit early, but it is interesting to have gone these next few months and seen just the excitement build around it, both I think from where I sit within the financial services industry, but also on the crypto side, talking to VCs and with how do you see an announcement like this or a development like this rather from an institution like Citi affect adoption of these technologies, which really has been on a long journey being crypto specific and now hitting a big institution like Citi?
I think it's really important for our client. Everything we do is very client-centric, and as our clients are embarking on their security, we've had inbounds from them for a trusted partner like Citi to partner with them on this. So here I am creating the background at Cybos right now with several entities that have making announcements, as well as like Swift, who's talking about a consortium in this space. So you're seeing more and more enterprises enter their space as their clients are requesting that. And I think that will continue as we move to this next evolution from retail into enterprise.
As we move from retail into enterprise, sunny side, guys, we are getting to the point where we're all going to have much different lives, right? Blockchain is going to reshape how value moves around the planet, and that will not only help people, but it will help us who've been here and have been watching this from the beginning. And you're going to be able to tell all your friends very soon, maybe in the next couple of months or couple of years, that you were right all along and they should have listened to you. And you're going to be able to go through all of that jazz. But let's finally get there before you start doing that, because if you start doing that now, they still think you're crazy. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, please let me know. If this was helpful, if you learned something, please like and share the video. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Robert Doyle.